In today's Final Touch, Amsterdam's famous Dam Square held a very colorful event this weekend.
The Dutch were celebrating National Tulip Day. A special garden covering more than 26,000 square feet was created for the event, with 200,000 tulips in multiple colors on display. Visitors were invited to pick the blooms for free. Tulip growers were in attendance to help visitors make up their bouquets and give them tips on growing the tulips. The Netherlands, of course, is the world's biggest tulip producer. Producers grow between 1 and 2 billion of them each year. That's a sight for sore eyes.
That just makes me ready for spring already.
Exactly, exactly. Thanks for your help today.
All right.
And thanks for watching, everybody. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.
And right now at 5, what Wisconsin senators are saying ahead of President Trump's impeachment trial.
Dane County law enforcement is continuing to ask the public for information surrounding the homicide of Nicholas Day. We'll have the latest on that investigation.
Plus, people around the country are remembering Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on his birthday, how Madison is celebrating his legacy.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 5.
Thanks for staying with News 3 Now. We are less than 20 hours away from President Trump's impeachment trial, and the president's legal team is filing a brief today.
The president's team said the Democrats' charges of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress are not impeachable offenses. They also say the impeachment process was flawed and didn't allow the president to defend himself. They claim Democrats were not seeking the truth, only looking to find a way to drive President Trump out of office.
This is an entirely partisan and therefore illegitimate effort by House Democrats to remove a president from office.
Since any jury would convict in 3 minutes flat that the president betrayed his country by breaking the law.
House impeachment managers issued their own response, saying the Constitution allows the Senate to remove presidents who, like President Trump, abuse their power to cheat in elections, betray our national security, and ignore checks and balances. The Senate trial gets underway tomorrow. The first order of business will be to debate and vote on a resolution outlining the rules of the trial.
Senators in Wisconsin are taking different approaches to the trial.
Our Amy Reed is here now to explain what we can expect. Amy?
So we have a senator in either party. Both have taken an oath to be impartial, though they've shown different attitudes in this time beforehand. Last week, Republican Senator Ron Johnson was in Wisconsin campaigning for the president. He spoke at the rally in Milwaukee last week, praising what the president has done in office and calling for 4 more years of the Trump administration. Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin told us today, "I take this responsibility very seriously, and my judgment in the Senate impeachment trial will be guided by putting country before party and our Constitution first." She has also encouraged including witnesses in the trial, a sticking point that delayed the articles of impeachment from getting to the Senate immediately after passing the House before Christmas. If this does go down party lines, the Senate wouldn't have the votes to remove Trump from office. The latest Marquette poll shows that 40% of Wisconsinites believe the president should be impeached and removed. 52% do not. About 6% were undecided.
All right, Amy Reed. Big day tomorrow. We'll keep an eye on it. Thanks,
Amy.
Dane County investigators continue to pursue leads in a town of Blue Mounds homicide.
Charlotte DeLeste is here now with a reminder from law enforcement. Charlotte?
Susan and Eric, it was last Wednesday, January 15th, that police found the body of Nicholas Day in what Dane County Sheriff Dave Mahoney has described as an extremely brutal and very calculated homicide. 26-year-old Nicholas Day was found in the early afternoon last Wednesday in his running clothes off County Highway JG near Burgum Road. Today, the sheriff's office wants to talk with anyone who knew Nicholas Day, who may have information concerning any details related to his personal or professional life. If you have not spoken with law enforcement, you can call the Dane County Communications Center non-emergency line at 608-255-2345 or the tip line at 284-6900. Detectives are following up with residents in that area and are seeking any surveillance video anyone might have, either a business or home surveillance camera in the Mount Horeb and Blue Mounds area, as they piece together a timeline in their investigation. Eric and Susan?
Charlotte, thank you. Dane County medical examiners released the name of the victim killed in a McKenna Boulevard homicide. They say Antonio Stidham of Chicago died from firearm-related trauma. Police say that homicide happened inside an apartment on McKenna Boulevard on Saturday afternoon. Officers do not have a suspect in custody. Madison PD's investigation is ongoing.
A woman was arrested in Greene County after threatening to kill a law enforcement officer. Deputies say they responded to a report of a 911 hang-up call in Spring Grove. When they arrived, they found a vehicle in the ditch. After an investigation, deputies say 26-year-old Jacqueline Rowley of Monroe lost control of her vehicle and crashed into a ditch. She was taken to the hospital for a legal blood draw when she threatened to kill an officer. She was arrested and could face multiple counts, including second offense OWI. A South Wayne man was arrested on suspicion of fourth offense operating while intoxicated following a traffic stop. Deputies pulled over Scott Tollickson Sunday morning for an equipment violation in Argyle. He was cited for his fourth offense OWI. He remains in the Lafayette County Jail.
Cool start to the work week. There's a chance we could see some snow later this week. Let's check your first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti. Gary?
Well, Eric, it looks like we'll see one more cold day before temperatures warm up, and that could lead to a chance of snow by the end of the week. In the short term, things are pretty quiet out there. A visible cloud track shows all the snow on the ground, but the clouds have been drifting to the south. We'll probably see a few clouds build up tonight, but otherwise, skies will be partly cloudy. Doppler track shows some flurries that we had early this morning now drifting down into Illinois and away from southern Wisconsin. This morning, low temperatures were in the single digits to around 10. You can tell where the clouds were because that's where temperatures were a couple degrees warmer. Current temperatures now are in the upper teens to the lower 20s, but winds are pretty light, so wind chills are not much of a factor. By tomorrow morning, temperatures will be down to around 6 degrees. You can see that slow slide in temperatures over the next 12 hours, but other than being a seasonably cold day tomorrow, shouldn't be much of a problem. I'll have more details on weather in just a few minutes.
All right, Gary, thank you. Americans are pausing to mark the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, remembering the civil rights leader with ceremonies all across the nation. A crowd gathered at Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial in Washington. Members of the King family joined community leaders to lay a wreath marking a day of reflection and reconciliation. At a civil rights breakfast, Reverend Al Sharpton used the holiday to present Bill Clinton with an award for excellence in public service. The former president told Americans to choose action over neglect.
We should rejoice in this day as we are commanded and not grow weary, because there's plenty to do. But don't you doubt it, it can be done.
At Pearl Harbor, the Navy making history, announcing its next aircraft carrier will be named for World War II hero Dory Miller. He was the grandson of slaves, the son of sharecroppers, and received the Navy Cross for valor. The
tradition of celebrating Dr. King's life and legacy at the state capitol continued today.
Danica Lewis has more from that event. Danica?
Well, Eric and Susan, according to the organizers, this is the longest running state celebration of its kind in the country. Today was filled with musical performances and a musical keynote speaker, that being Ollie Watts Davis. She is a distinguished professor of music at the University of Illinois and conducts the school's Black Chorus. She spoke to the crowd today about taking a stand and using our positions of power in society to make real change.
A stand for justice is a high road. It may appear threatening. We may be threatened, and we may have to be the threat. We are custodians of the movement, and we must develop the work that Dr. King started. We must use our power to transform society for the better.
Along with her music-focused coursework, Ollie Watts Davis leads a mentoring curriculum for young women called Talks My Mother Never Had With Me. This was the 40th year for this program, which is free and open to the public. And if you couldn't make it to the Capitol today, Wisconsin Public Television will be airing its highlights show tonight at 9.
Danica, thank you. The American Red Cross is continuing to ask for blood donations during the winter months. The organization says they have a critical Type O shortage right now, and they need donors of all blood types. With the flu outbreak across the country, it's preventing some donors from giving blood. To schedule an appointment to give blood, head to redcrossblood.org.
Henry Valley Zoo raising funds for wildlife recovery efforts now in Australia. From now until the end of February, the zoo is raising money that will help those efforts. The money will go towards working on the ground and around the clock to save and protect those animals that have been affected by the wildfires in Australia. Some experts estimate up to 1 billion animals have died or have been impacted by those wildfires. You can donate at the zoo. Donation boxes have been set up in the gift shop and the Glacier Grill as well, or you can head to their website, henryvillazoo.gov.
In July, we shared the story of a group of Madison moms collecting over 400 pounds of baby clothes for a migrant shelter in Tucson, Arizona. Well, since then, the cause has grown into a larger group called Alita's Angels. This week, the founding Madison mom, Margaret Musgraves, traveled to Arizona to visit Casa Alitas for the first time. Over the past 6 months, the group has helped raise money to purchase and ship in demand items to the shelter. During her visit, Musgrave gave the shelter's medical team $1,000 on behalf of the group to buy prescriptions.
It's amazing to actually finally be here and see Casa Alita, see all the guests, and actually see the impact that we're making kind of firsthand. I mean, I know Rachel's has seen it like every day for the past year and a half, but I've never seen it before, so it's been really impactful for me personally.
Right now, Musgrave says in-demand items include seasonal children's clothes and backpacks. For more information about Alita's Angels, visit our website, channel3000.com.
No, we didn't want to see it, but the Packers have arrived back in Green Bay after their loss to the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. The players cleaning out their lockers today. A bittersweet moment for some of the players, especially Brian Bulaga. 10 years ago now, he was drafted out of Iowa by Green Bay. This year, he is set to become an unrestricted free agent.
Like I said yesterday, I mean, I've grown up here. Got married when I was a Packer, bought my first house. I still live in. 2 kids. I mean, a lot of ups and downs, that my wife and I have grown from. Very appreciative of being a Green Bay Packer and being a part of a lot of good stuff that's gone on here the last 10 years.
Well, some of the more notable free agents include kicker Mason Crosby, linebacker Blake Martinez, cornerback Tremont Williams, and wide receiver Alan Lazard. And with the Packers' loss against the Niners, the stage is set for Super Bowl 54. The Chiefs and Niners will be playing in Miami for the Lombardi Trophy. 24-year-old quarterback Patrick Mahomes led the Chiefs to their first Super Bowl since the Nixon presidency. The 49ers' last Super Bowl appearance was 2013 when they lost to the Ravens. The game February 2nd on Fox.
The Wisconsin Badger women's hockey team is back on top in the latest USCHO poll. The Badgers were dumped down to number 2 in the poll last week, and Minnesota was ranked the top-ranked team. This weekend, the Gophers will travel to Madison to take on the Badgers at LeBron Arena on Saturday and Sunday.
Still ahead on News 3 Now at 5. Thousands of gun rights advocates rally at the Virginia Capitol while counter-protesters canceled their plans.
And coming up tonight at 6, a Madison woman is able to track down her own stolen car multiple times. Why police weren't able to help until days later.
For a forecast that keeps your family safe, watch First Alert Weather.
An estimated 22,000 gun rights supporters gathered outside the Virginia state capitol, angry over new gun restrictions proposed by Democratic state lawmakers.
Democratic legislators proposed several bills to limit handgun purchases and require background checks. It follows a deadly mass shooting in Virginia Beach last summer. Gun owners came to push back, while those who want more restrictions on guns canceled plans for a counter demonstration.
I will choose to deputize thousands of my citizens to see that they're able to keep their lawfully owned firearms and not be disarmed.
With all of the threats and all of the terribly violent rhetoric that's going on right now, our main goal is not to engage with gun extremists today.
Both sides say they'll be back at the State House before lawmakers vote on the new gun laws.
A dangerous virus is spreading rapidly in China, and U.S. officials are worried it will come here. China has more than 200 confirmed cases of coronavirus, which produces pneumonia-like symptoms. Now, since Friday, the number of known infections in Asia has more than quadrupled, with cases confirmed in China, Thailand, Japan, and now South Korea. U.S. health officials are concerned the rapid spread could mimic the massive SARS outbreak back in the early 2000s, which resulted in 774 deaths in 29 countries. But so far, it does not appear that this disease is easily transmittable between people.
There are laboratories around the world already working on really good diagnostic tests, and we've already started to work on a vaccine in the event that's necessary.
The outbreak is believed to have started from people who picked it up at a fresh food market in the city of Wuhan in central China.
Britain's Prince Harry has spoken publicly for the first time since he and his wife Meghan split with the royal family. He says they had no choice but to walk away to find a more peaceful life. The couple will reimburse taxpayers the $3.1 million used to renovate their Frogmore Cottage home near Windsor Castle. Harry, who served 2 tours in Afghanistan, says giving up the military titles that he was awarded hurts the most.
Our hope was to continue serving the Queen, the Commonwealth, and my military associations, but without public funding. Unfortunately, that wasn't possible.
In a statement, Her Majesty said Harry, Meghan, and Archie will always be much-loved members of the royal family. 2 female astronauts successfully carried out NASA's 3rd ever all-female spacewalk today. Flight engineers Jessica Meyer and Christina Koch completed the main tasks to upgrade the International Space Station's power systems. The spacewalk took just over 5 hours. As it wrapped up, the duo paid a heartfelt tribute to Martin Luther King Jr. on MLK Day, saying Dr. King, quote, paved the way not only for us, but for so many that have a dream. The pair conducted the first ever all-female spacewalk in October.
Well, let's get a look at your first alert weather. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti joining us in the Weather Center. Gary?
You know, after a very active week last week, things have really settled down, and it looks like we'll see some chances for light snow later this week. We will see a warm-up after a cold start to the week, so it'll be cold tonight and tomorrow. Low temperatures tonight, single digits above 0, but with light winds, wind chill shouldn't be too much of a factor. And for tomorrow, look for high temperatures, again, in the middle 20s, just slightly below normal for this time of year. The winds will pick up, though, tomorrow night, and that will start to cause temperatures to rise already by tomorrow evening, and the temperatures will follow, so that by Wednesday, we're back in the low 30s, and temperatures should be in the low to mid 30s all the way through most of next week. But there'll also be some light snow in the forecast, especially in the Thursday, Friday time period. Temperatures might be critical for our southern viewers. There could be a mix of rain and snow there, I think, from Madison on toward the north. Better chances of seeing at least some light snow with maybe some minor accumulations. But if you look at high temperatures over the next 10 days compared to the average, which at the end of that period goes from 26 up to 27. We finally passed the average coldest point of the winter. The temperatures will start rising as we head toward the end of the month, but you can see our expected high temperatures will be above that for the next 10 days. As we look at the almanac for today, our high temperature 25 degrees, the low temperature at 10, very close to the averages of 26 and 11. And right now we're at 22 degrees. Skies are partly cloudy, winds out of the north-northwest of 5 miles per hour, just strong enough to give us a wind chill at 16 degrees. The weather pattern becoming more active back in the Pacific Ocean, a big storm system in the Gulf of Alaska with a powerful cold front, but that's still days away from the west coast of North America. So this next weather system will head more into Canada and actually start driving mild Pacific air eastward. As that does so, our temperatures will start to warm up. So we've got this dip in the jet stream here, which is bringing in the cold air, but just as quickly the jet stream becomes more southwesterly, that will start warming temperatures up beginning tomorrow night and through the rest of the week. Weather track right now across the Midwest. You can see generally sunny skies across Wisconsin. The thicker clouds are down to the south. Temperatures right now generally in the teens and lower 20s. A few places out to the west in the single digits. But as we look at future track, you'll see, or weather track across the central part of the country, you can see that, again, this weather pattern is forecast to pretty much persist for tomorrow as this high pressure system slowly moves off to the east, and then a warm front out to the west will start heading in our direction. So these temperatures that are teens and 20s here actually start climbing into the 20s, 30s, and even some 40s farther out to the west. Now, the snow cover will temper our warm up, but as you can see on future track, once that high starts heading off to the east, winds become a little more southerly, and that's what will start bringing in the milder conditions by tomorrow night, along with some clouds and perhaps some light snow. The better chances for light snow will be Wednesday night into Thursday. There could be some minor accumulations, but again, farther to the south of Madison, there's a possibility of a mix of some rain and snow by Thursday afternoon. Our forecast calls for skies to be partly cloudy for tonight. It'll be cold, low temperature dropping to 6 with light and variable winds. For tomorrow, look for skies to be mostly sunny. It'll continue cold with a high temperature of 24 degrees and the winds out of the southwest at 8 to 15 miles per hour. On future track, you can see that skies are generally going to be partly cloudy to clear overnight, lows in the single digits. High temperatures tomorrow will climb into the middle 20s. For tomorrow night, look for low temperatures to drop into the teens and then start rising overnight. And as we head into Wednesday, you'll see more clouds, perhaps some light snow late in the afternoon, high temperatures in the lower 30s. 7 to 10 day forecast. Temperatures will be back in the low to mid 30s through most of that time period, and you can see just some chances for snow Friday, Saturday, Thursday and Friday, and perhaps Saturday, and then again toward the end of next week. Things are very quiet on the roads right now. Being a holiday, not seeing any major problems. That's your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
Thank you, Gary.
Ahead on News 3 Now at 5, some parents say their teenagers are spending too much time playing video games. We'll share tips on limiting how long kids stay in front of a screen. That's ahead at 5.
News
Feel like your children are playing too many video games? You're far from alone.
Michael George has some tips on limiting how long kids stay in front of the screen.
The video game industry is growing, and so is the amount of time kids are spending with a controller in their hands. 86% of parents say their teenager plays video games too much, according to a new survey from C.S. Mott Children's Hospital. And about half say their child plays 3 hours a day or more.
Like anything for teens, there needs to be respectful and healthy limits.
Dr. Gary Freed says excessive gaming can have real consequences.
The video games may interfere with sleep. They may interfere with interactions with family members and homework as well. If gaming gets in the way of sleep, it can have a lot of issues related to disturbed moods because of sleep deprivation.
The survey found boys are much more likely than girls to play every day. But how much time is too much? Well, experts say there's no magic number.
If they're going to try and limit the amount of time their teens spend gaming, need to make sure that they communicate well with their teen about why they think that's important. And another strategy that parents should consider is offering to play some games with their teen.
Freed says that can help parents better understand the games their kids are playing and hopefully have some fun in the process. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Susan taking notes. Another check of the forecast. Just a moment.
Tonight on the CBS Evening News, the deadly virus affecting travelers. What we're now learning about how it can spread. On the eve of the historic impeachment trial, what the president's legal team is now saying about the charges against him, and how the Navy is honoring the legacy of a heroic black sailor and his sacrifice to our country. That's tonight on the CBS Evening News.
They say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and it just so happens that the eyes of one special rescue dog.
Jubilee has an eyelid deformity that makes her always look surprised. Oh, she really does. She was surrendered to Husky House. It's a nonprofit animal shelter in New Jersey after her breeder told the shelter she couldn't be sold because she was too weird looking. Well, Jubilee found plenty of fans online. A Facebook post led to over 150 adoptive applicants. Husky House says she has now found a forever home and thanked Jubilee's many supporters. She's so cute.
Very sweet story.
And that's kind of what Joe looks like if you pull out a piece of chicken for him.
Yeah.
Surprised.
So you made it in, dodged the storms, and made it back.
Going out and coming in, yeah. I was between the systems that previous Friday and last Friday. We just barely made it in. But
now it's quiet.
Yeah, it's quiet but cold. Right now, 22 in Madison. Wind chills right now, not too big of a deal. Upper single digits and teens. But high temperatures go back into the 30s on Wednesday and stay there all the way through next week with some snow chances Thursday and Friday and then toward the end of next week.
But more updates in 30 minutes on News 3 Now at 6. Stay tuned now for the CBS Evening News.